Greetings, all. So, my name is Imani Evans-Baskin. I am a master life coach with an expertise in trauma recovery and resiliency. And today I wanted to focus this video as really kind of a follow up to the video I did recently on narcissism. How do you know that you're with a narcissist, right? Because I had people follow up and inbox me with questions about, well, what if the narcissist that you're dealing with is a family member or you're married? And so it isn't something you could leave right away or that you want to leave. Maybe you're making an effort to stay and you really are trying to figure out, what do I do in the course of this relationship to be healthy for myself? And I think that's a great question. And since I've had several people ask that question since the video, I wanted to do this one as a follow-up. And so I have a few things that I want to share to help you. I would say the first thing is to educate yourself. Don't just assume you know what it means to talk about narcissism, but really look at some articles, really look at some really great videos about narcissism and the many ways that narcissism can show up. And if we're talking about narcissism as a trait, remember that it can look different on different people. There are some elements of it that will be common, and that will be around the emotional regulation, lack of empathy, and the grandiosity. Whether the grandiosity is overt or covert, you would find that grandiosity stand there. And so it's really important to educate yourself about what it is, because I feel like once you have information, the information is power. Now, that information should not be used to sort of, diagnose or armchair psychology, be an armchair psychologist for the person in your life, but it's really designed to just empower you with an understanding. In the same way, if you had a loved one who you found out had cancer, the first thing you would do is, research, what does this mean? Or, if they have diabetes, how do I help them? So you would do a favor to yourself, and that is get some education on it. The second thing I would do is particularly if this is someone you're related to, and that dynamic might not be changing, or you're married and you're planning to try to figure out how to be in a marriage, or at least you'll be there until you're not there. The thing I would say, the second thing is work on your side of the street, right? Because that's the only thing we can change anyway, is what's on your side of the street. And a lot of times, if you're finding yourself up close and personal with a narcissist, chances are you might be dealing with some issues of people pleasing or codependence, or over functioning and giving at a level that really comes out of your own deficit and not a place of abundance, and really swapping out someone else's needs for yourself. That may be a situation you're dealing with. If it is, do the work on your side of the street. Why? Because this helps you set healthy boundaries in place. And that way there's not sort of the tendency to internalize some of the emotional damage that can be done with a narcissist in your life. I mean, the self-esteem damage caused by being up close and personal to a narcissist cannot be understated. It is a true test of your own ability to hold on to your sanity in that way. And I think that's the most difficult part about it. So the third thing I would say is, set expectations that are realistic to what you're dealing with. If you had a friend who was in a wheelchair, or, had their legs amputated, you wouldn't consistently ask that person, why won't you get up and run with me? You would find ways to do that same activity with an understanding understanding of what the parameters are, right? Well, it's the same thing. Set realistic expectations. If you have a narcissist in your life, say it's your mother or your sister or your brother, this is not the person you go to for emotional nurturing. Okay. I mean, you would find somewhere else to get that need met because it's just really not going to happen. And understand that this is the lack of empathy is a deficit that you're working with a narcissist in your life. And at the same time, you can sort of find the things that are surface level that you do enjoy with this person, because again, as I've said before, narcissists can be very charming. And if you have a sister or brother or father or mother, and whatever ways that you enjoy that person, enjoy it, and you limit the times to that. When it becomes damaging or abusive, then you definitely advocate for yourself, walk away from the situation, get yourself out of that situation with that family member. So again, I'm talking about situations where you're related to the narcissist. And there are a lot of people who say, well, look, I cut off all ties with the person because there just was no way. If you're dealing with someone who is really just completely lacks insight, has no willingness to work on themselves, and is just completely abusive, I absolutely do not subscribe to anyone telling anyone that they need to stay in that. But this is really to answer the question that I've been asked, of what do I do? I'm here. What can I do to keep my own sanity and to be able to be present? And so I'm going to backtrack and give you all three of those again. So the first thing I would say is educate yourself. Make sure you're getting quality education. And that you're looking at resources that are credible. You look at Psychology Today or articles written by clinicians talking about narcissism, but really educating yourself. Again, that education is about your own empowerment and understanding, and understanding where you can navigate your way through, how not to go down the black hole of trying to prove or get them to understand something. And all of that happens through education. The second thing would be creating healthy boundaries. If this is a relationship where you need to limit it, if this is a limit how much contact you have, then you need to do that. Whatever the healthy boundaries you are, don't expect that you might not feel guilt. Okay, you might. But know that guilt is not yours to hold on to. And you really have to give yourself permission to have those healthy boundaries. Deal with your side of the street. If you are someone who is dealing with people pleasing and over functioning and things that would make you, for lack of a better word, a great supplier for a narcissist, then work on your side of the street, because again, that's the only thing we can change. The third thing is to set reasonable expectations, understanding what you're dealing with. If you know this person is not someone, that is going to be highly empathetic or even process intellectually through empathy, then, this is not the place you go to share your deepest, darkest emotions. And I know that might feel counterintuitive for some people who are constantly trying to get that approval from a parent or a sibling, where society tells us we should have a close relationship with these people. But the fact of the matter is you just don't. And understanding what those limitations are will be helpful. I always say, listen, instead of trying to make someone a friend, make them a really good associate. If that's all it really is, be a good associate and stop trying to, push the square peg into a round hole. Anyway, I hope this brief video was helpful. Again, my name is Imani Evans-Baskin. I am a master life coach working in trauma recovery and resiliency, empowering you beyond the pain in your life. And that's it for today. I wish you peace. I wish you love.